What's up, people? Welcome to Video Village. It's your boy Mo Ski. This is the show that takes you behind the scenes and into the lives of the content creators, from the directors to the PA to the voiceover artists. And today we got my main man, Mr. Lamarr Gulley. What's cracking, man?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Mo?
Chilling.
How's it going, bro?
Chilling. All right, we're gonna get into your super bio.
Oh, there you go.
Lamarr Gulley is an Audie-nominated voice artist, actor, producer. You may have heard his voice in several local, regional, and national radio campaigns, including Toyota, Publix, Kroger, Georgia's Clean Air Campaign, and many more. For nearly 20 years, Lamarr has worked as a consultant, teacher, director, performer, and producer in Atlanta, New York, and Virginia. For 3 years, he was host and audio producer for radio station WNSB in Norfolk, Virginia. Lamarr is currently president of Voice Vision Productions, LLC, a full-service independent audio production firm that provides creative audio marketing solutions to business owners, advertising agencies, nonprofit organizations, and government agencies who use radio and other forms of audio advertising and promotion. He is also does voiceover animation for adult XX cartoons. Like, for real, bro? Is that
I was like, wait a minute, where'd it come from?
What's up, man? What's cracking?
Hey, man, shoot, look, I tell you what, there actually are some things cracking, man. First of all, got some new things on the horizon. We were talking about, man, building myself, doing a little studio upgrade. Finally got my whisper room, and so I'm really excited about that, and putting that build on, like literally building the walls, like as we speak, like in between. And of course, I got to take a break from my brother Mo, though, Wow. And the thing is, it's really, when they say they build these little booths well, yes, they build them well. These walls are heavy, but that's good, because that's what you want for for some good sound production.
Now, this is a room like in your basement or something, or in your house.
Yeah, right. So I have a studio space in my house, and you can put it in basement or whatever. It's basically a portable booth, portable sound booth. So like a whisper room, or like a Studio Breaks is the other top one. It's a lot more expensive actually in this case. So it's a 3.5 by 5 foot booth. Basically you can go in there, shut the door, record what you need. You can use it for in my case, voice acting, laying down voice acting vocals, or singers use it as well, to lay down vocals as well. Heck, even musicians use it, to lay down tracks or whatever for different songs and stuff like that. So you're playing that bass guitar, you can get in there and lay down some boom boom boom, and it really cuts out all the noise. Your neighbor, cutting the grass and stuff. If you're working from home, for example, you got your own home studio, which you need to have. It's a must nowadays if you're doing voiceover. You send stuff off, you're auditioning, you're sending stuff off to producers like yourself. Y'all don't want to hear my neighbor cutting his grass. You don't want to hear the dog barking, or the kids playing outside. That's all good stuff. Yeah. But when you're working in the house, you got to understand, you're in the neighborhood, people are still living. They ain't gonna stop, you living, because you're doing your thing, right?
Yeah.
You need to have some sort of space that's nice and quiet enough to where it can buffer out the ambient noise. I mean, a lot.
And it's called the Whisper Room.
Whisper Room, right? And they're a company. They make different models of booths. So Whisper Room, mine in particular, 3.5 by 5 feet. But man, they go up to really huge booths to where you can get like a choir in them.
Okay.
And but they really all portable. You can build them. You can build them into your wall if you want to. But for the most part, they're portable. You can build them, take them down, etc. And like I said, they're worth their weight in gold, man. And I got a great price on mine. I've been trying to save up for one and everything, but they can be kind of costly. But I found a really good one. A guy was selling, another artist was selling, and he gave me a good deal on it. I was like, man, I'm hopping on that.
That's what's up.
So,
another stream of income.
Yeah, man, right, exactly. Because I mean, not only am I doing my thing in there, sending off auditions and producing audiobooks. I'll get to that in a minute. But also, of course, renting it out to other artists in the area. I mean, you and I know in our area, just in our community here, area, we know recording artists, singers, vocalists, spoken word artists, etc. Who really, they got everything but that space. So, maybe I can help them by providing them with a space, renting it out to them and letting them do their thing.
Word. Now let's get into this journey of how you got from Akron, Ohio, to a whisper room in the ATL. So as a filmmaker, we have people we look up to, the Spike Lees, the Spielbergs, and musicians. They have their people they look up to, the Jay-Z's and the Nas's, or whatever you want to do. Who does the voiceover artist look up to, and where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, it really depends really on what you're doing. So, for example, with me, there have been a lot of people. For example, when I first started, and mine goes, I guess, twofold. From the side of the vocal, the VO side of it, there were some guys who were just really great that I knew about from the beginning. Big audiobook guys like Grover Gardner, for example. He was my first taste of the audiobook coach. I actually got to meet him in New York one day. I was like, okay, wow, this is really cool, and from the production side, you got guys like Uncle Roy Yokelson, you got David Goldberg, you got guys like George Whittam and Dan Leonard, these guys here that are just like production whizzes, and I've learned so much just watching those guys, talking to those guys, networking with those particular Dan Friedman, another guy, talking to those guys and really learning more about audio and how things should sound, as opposed to as opposed to what I send them and what they end up sounding like. They've shown me, different ways to use compression and, different filters and stuff like that while not overdoing it, And that's the key there. Now, when you look at from the voiceover side, we're looking at, other guys as well. We're looking at women, like from the audiobook side, people like Bonnie Turpin, Scott Brick. You look at a guy like a Dave Fenoy, he's not so much audiobook, but he's a black guy. He does video game stuff, and he's won Emmy Awards doing narration for Discovery Channel and National Geographic and things like that. So that's a key with me. And you guys have touched on this as well in conversations we've had. When you want to be the best, you want to be better at least, you got to work with the best. You got to try to strive to work with people who are really getting it done in your industry. And you'd be surprised that, just shooting an email, making a connection on social media, maybe just, like you said, volunteering at different events, or, being out there and doing things and networking with people, or just, taking a chance, like I said, and just contacting them. People aren't untouchable, and they will talk to you, and folks will give you great advice. So yes, I mean, those are the kinds of people I look up to in my field there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, before the whole social media era, it seems like, people now, you just slide into their DM and say, hey man, can you give me a
boom, boom, boom.
Now, before the social media era, were these people accessible and easy to look up and say, hey, can I shoot you an email or whatever, or what was that process like?
Yeah. So, you had, basically that's how I got in touch with people via via their websites.
Website, yeah.
And, Instagram and, the Instas and their Facebooks, so to speak. It was just basically, going to like an Edge Studio website or something like that. It's kind of a all-in-one website, but that was where I started out doing an Edge Studio training in New York City. Okay. And with that, you got access to just certain people. They actually came there in person, talked to you, and then what you do is you start talking to them, you make that connection, you exchange information, and you stay in touch. You don't bombard them with emails every week, even though they invite questions and things like that. Eventually, you just go places. I was a person who, and I'm thankful I had a wife and a daughter who allowed me to do this. Had the freedom. Well, I created the freedom for myself. Saving the money and doing the things to go to different events, to go and meet people and talk to people, and get training, from different people in the industry, and it really helped me out. And so through them, I met other people and then other people. And so before the advent of the Instas and all that stuff, that's how just basically just being social without the social media part.
I remember watching years ago, I forget my man name who passed away now, that was the Hollywood voiceover trailer guy. I don't know if you know it.
Don LaFontaine.
Yeah,
in a world. He was the guy, man. He was their go-to guy. I mean, and here's what Don would do, man. I mean, there's a lot of legends about Don. If you guys really are interested in hearing some stuff, and they got a lot of comedy things with him as well, but interested in hearing some of his stuff, you can go out and just Google him. There's a lot of links with audio from him, but he got to the point to where studios would send him a car, pick him up. He would come in, lay down,
that's the clip I saw on Entertainment Tonight. He showed up in this limo or something. I was like, a voiceover artist?
That's real. Yeah, that's real. And he would come in there, lay down his trailers, one take, boom, drop the mic, he was gone, And but the thing is that I never met him in person, but from everything I've heard, he was like the nicest, most accessible guy ever, but it was just, he had this legend about him, but he didn't act like it, and but he was, from everything I've heard, he was a cool dude. Don LaFontaine.
Not to piggyback on per se the business model of professional voiceover artists, what is the competition like to market yourself, amongst the rest, and what do you do different that other voiceover artists do different to market yourselves to get on that level?
Right, and that's a great question. So, it is very competitive. You're right. I mean, there are different genres of voiceover. And so, you really kind of have to, one thing is not trying to be, all things to all people. You really have to kind of go with don't be afraid to try all the things, but definitely go for your niche. So basically, I found my niche in audiobooks, commercial reads, and narration. I found a kind of a niche market there. I will probably, dabble in some e-learning here, maybe even some video games. I actually, did a kind of a comic book video game read they brought to life there, and that was fun. But for the most part, it's really how you market yourself. Like for example, if you want to be an audiobook narrator, get the training, get everything, get yourself down pat, do your work, do your practice and everything. But put yourself out there, market yourself as an audiobook narrator. Get out there and get your demos done. Your demo is basically your main marketing tool, in this area. And so, you got to get out there, do your training, get your demo done. Unfortunately, you got to get a demo. If you're doing audiobooks, you got to get an audiobook demo. If you're doing e-learning, you got to get an e-learning demo, narration and so forth. You got to have that commercial demo. But the idea is that using that demo, using your website, using nowadays, agents, producers, everybody else, they look at your Instagram, they look at your social media stuff. They may not look at how many followers you have, but they want to see your stuff out there. They want to see stuff out there that they can go out there and refer to. They want you to have you ain't got to have the best website, but but they do want you to have something, even if it's just some audio on, SoundCloud or something like that. So get your audio out there, get your stuff out there, participate in groups, even on Facebook. There's a lot of good voiceover groups on Facebook.
So what you're really saying is, in this day and time, if you're really serious about it, there's no excuse on why you're not out there on social media.
Excuse. No, really, there is not. There's so many. I know. I went through all these openings and stuff and all these different avenues. Right. There's no excuse as to why you just can't get started. You gotta, if you want to take a chance and do it, you got to take a chance and do it. You gotta. It's they always say nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you speak on the different avenues on how to use your voice. What is the weirdest voiceover request you have gotten where you said, I'm good, or did you take it in the end was like, I don't know why I did that?
Oh, okay. Well, the weirdest one I ever got was this this audition for an audiobook, but it was one of those shall we say adult audiobooks. So when you did the adult thing, I was like, I had to think, did I actually take that? But it was funny because the stuff that they were talking about, and it was like, they wanted all these different voices and all this stuff. And it was like crazy because it was like, in audiobooks you do men and women and stuff like that. But the way they were describing the characters, I was like, oh man. Then when I started reading the script, I was like, oh man, this is really weird. They had some alien stuff in there. It was crazy. I was like, oh man, they going multi-species, multi-planet stuff in here. And it was just basically, it was your smut novel, but it was like beyond smut, It was like alien smut. And then like one that I did do that was fun. It was so it wasn't really a weird voice. I had to do kind of a Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. For one of the clean air campaign deals, and so that was really cool.
Okay,
and it was a lot of fun, and it gave me an opportunity to really try that character thing.
Yeah,
that's when I found out I could really do a character voice.
Yeah. Now, in production on my end, coming up, whether you was a grip or when you put in that hard labor on set for 15, 16 hours. Do you have grueling days in the booth where after 10 hours, do you say, all right, we got to cut it, my voice is getting a little hoarse, or what's the taxing on your body as a...
No, that never happens, man. Come on. That's... So the taxing thing, that's a great question because whenever anybody asks me about, voiceover, I have students that I train as well, that I've trained in the past. And the first thing, they get into, they think, hey, they're going to get in there, you grab the mic and you're just, yes, and then this happened, then that happened, and the end, and they don't know really. Yeah, when you're in that booth, the booth can get hot. You're in there if you're doing a long audiobook, for example, that's when it can get, kind of grueling, especially if you are the one producing the audiobook or editing the audiobook. Because now, okay, you've laid down your tracks, that takes a long time, especially, if you have a tendency to, throw some flubs in there, which, I can. Mm-hmm. And then when you get out of the booth, now after, you need to take breaks too. But, you're in the booth for 4 hours at a time, 2 hours at a time, 3 hours at a time. You get out now, you're in front of the computer going, oh man, let's see, because now you're working your software. That in itself is the part that I love to pass along to other people. I like working with some publishers because they will just say, hey, send us the file, and then they do the production and they do everything and stuff like that. That's the part I love to hand off to somebody else. That's the most grueling part. Right there, the editing, production part, and the mastering and stuff, just for me.
Cool. Now, to keep on the subject of the audiobooks, I went to your website and checked out a couple of your projects that are on Amazon now. Congratulations. The Jacky and Campy. The rocky relationship between Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella. Tell us about that.
That's the favorite book. That's my favorite book that I've done so far. It wasn't the one. It's funny, ironically, it wasn't the one I was nominated for an Audie for. Now that's Unforgettable Times. But Jacky and Campy. So I did that book for University Press, and of course, it's nonfiction. This guy Bill Cachetas wrote it. And I learned a lot by reading his book, man. First of all, I didn't know that the two of them didn't really get along. They didn't. I thought that they were boys. They both played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. They were the quote unquote black guys. You
were thinking that era that they would come together.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, and so I found out that they. Jackie had one way of fighting racism, fighting for equal rights, whereas Roy Campanella, had another completely different viewpoint on it. One was more, Booker T, the other one was more W.E.B. Du Bois, Du Bois. And so, it was, they were two completely different, sides of the spectrum there as far as, how to deal with racism and how to deal with, how white people treated them back in the day. And it was really interesting, man. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the Brooklyn area in New York. I learned about a lot of history about the Dodgers, how they got started. It was really, and then a lot of the things that happened along the lines of the Negro Leagues, getting more black players into the Major League Baseball. It really goes in depth, and I was really thankful for being able to do that book because it was really, like I said, not only fun to do, but it was really enlightening to me, and it was fun to do from the standpoint of I got a chance to work with, in my research, which you got to do if you're doing audiobooks. You got to do your research. If you don't understand a word, you don't know how to understand how to pronounce a word, you don't know what the author is talking about, get in touch with somebody. But research, I got a chance to work with the librarian at the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Once again, just reached out to him and gave him a call. He was happy to work with me.
That's what's up.
For some pronunciations, like street names and stuff like that. I actually called restaurants and places in Brooklyn to find out, hey, how do you pronounce this street that y'all are on? And they told me things like that. So yeah, things like it was, I had a lot of fun with it, and it was really, like I said, interesting and really enlightening and educational for me, and I hope it was for other people.
Yeah. Now, when you do audiobooks and you have multiple characters, do you play the voice of all the characters in that book?
Yeah, right. You are the narrator now. In some cases, for example, I'm currently producing a multi-voiced audio book. So in some cases, that happens where there are more than one, more than one voice, one doing the female parts and one doing the male parts or what have you, different, parts of the book. But no, when you're the narrator, you're narrating the book. And so you are, male, female, child, robot, whatever's in the book. And it's not, so much to where you have to put, like a female affectation on your voice to where you're trying to, raise your octave or, like, that's the female, anything like that. but it's how you read it, it's how you read it. And it's really just about making differentiating the characters and making each character live. And like, for example, with this book, with Jacky and Campy, of course, none of them were around for me to talk to them or anything like that. What I did have was YouTube links things like that, I could go and listen to them talk. And while I didn't try to do an impersonation of them, everybody in the book was a real person. I tried to make them live, maybe perhaps, throw an accent in there or whatever. But since these were all real people, I really did my best to treat them, all the characters, with great respect, as well. These are great historical figures, Branch Rickey, guys like that.
Yeah.
I really took care to do that,
Cool. Now we're going to get into my reshoot segment. This is a segment where there's anything in your journey that you might have said, man, I wish I could do that over. And for a voiceover artist, since you hit in the booth and you get so many retakes to get it right, I'm going to put you on the spot on a live situation where, in live production, there is no redos. So has there ever been a live event that you have used your voice where you was like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that, or let me do that over?
Yeah. So, I was working at an event where I was the actual announcer. They were doing like a thing where, it was kind of like this formal thing and all this stuff. So, there were a lot of folks that I knew in the crowd, and it was something, and it was something. There were a lot of my friends being introduced as well. So, but instead of them giving them me, just me, hey, this is so and so. Everybody put your hands together for so and so. I decided to go all formal. Yes, I wanted to be like I was announcing the Academy Awards. I don't know what I thought I was doing, and I went all formal. Yes, everyone, once again, this is Joe Schmo. Everyone, please welcome him to the stage. And I know people were probably like, "Who is this?" Instead of adding my own personality, which was why they hire you. So that's why they want you to add a piece of you. That's why they're hiring you for the job. Yeah, they want that. And so instead of giving them that, I gave them some dude I imagined in my mind. Yeah, it was just like, I know the people working in production is like, okay, and when I heard it, you put on your white voice. Exactly, right. Yeah, I decided to be, Mr. Snooty White Man all of a sudden, and it was funny because that's one thing though that I had to learn the hard way, really. But like I said, piece of advice that I've gotten since then, give to other people. Hey, they hire you for a piece of you. Yeah, that's why they're hiring you. Don't be afraid to give them you. I have one redo that I don't know if you remember. Remember you did the announcement for our wedding for me and. Oh my goodness! Yes. and your voice got a little hoarse as you was announcing our names. Yes. Not just a little hoarse. I'll tell you about that. Yeah. Let me. I had strep throat that day. I didn't know it. I was so excited to do this. I had the music and we had everything all set up and everything. And I got there like, dude, man, my voice is not, really getting it. And I was fighting that day. Next thing you know, I was like, man, and it was like, as soon as y'all said I do, I was like out the door. I was out the door. I said, because my wife was there, I said, shoot, I got to go, to the urgent care. Something is happening here. And yeah, man, I had strep throat that day. Wow. So I was thankful I didn't get anybody sick. Yeah. Yeah, that was. We're watching the reception video. It's like Lamarr ain't there. It's like we ain't never know where'd you go. Like what happened? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. I think I didn't tell Nikki until I think I talked to her maybe a year later, 2 years later or something. I was like, yeah, let me tell you about this. She was like, really? Yeah. So it was funny because the actual I had recorded the actual voiceover. I had everything already recorded. And so I think the guy in the booth ended up playing the wrong thing too. Yeah. Uh-huh. So he walked down the aisle, like the wrong track played and everything. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that was kind of weird too. So I was like, okay, but I think overall though, I think, hey, it was still,
the show must go on.
Yeah, right. I know, right. But I thought it was a very unique experience. I really enjoyed what you guys did there. That the Detroit Pistons introduction.
Yeah, get it right. Now we're gonna go
right.
to our filmmaker quote of the day, and not necessarily a filmmaker, but from poet, civil activist Maya Angelou. She says, "Words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with deeper meaning." What do you use your voice for to bring that sultry meaning in your work?
So yeah, right. So what I do is, so that's the thing. I mean, you really, kind of hit on it with that. So you want to bring meaning to it. Like you want to, first of all, you want to be kind of unique. I celebrate the fact that I have a unique sound, and I try to add that, and people want to, and I like the fact that producer people like that, people want to buy that, but it's not that, so even if they didn't buy it, so to speak, I would still lend that. I try to add a little bit of soul to it, try to lay something down in there, and which is, like I said, ironically, which is what I didn't give them on that one announcement. When I'm in the booth, I try to give my customers what they want, but what they want also comes with a little bit of me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely try to lay that in there, try to lay that kind of Lamarr soul in there a little bit,
Cool. Now I'm gonna throw you on the spot. I watch a lot of radio interviews online, and when they have artists on the show, they put them on the spot to drop a little freestyle. So since I have a voiceover artist with me, I'm gonna need you to do me a 30-second freestyle commercial for my Detroit Lions for this upcoming football season.
Oh man, okay. Let me think. That's gonna be tough, man. Because I tell you, let's see. Hey Detroit, come check out Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions as they take on the Oakland Raiders from Oakland, California. It's going to be a lot of action in this event. The Detroit Lions are coming into this event as the undefeated leaders of the NFC North, of course. And they're looking to extend their lead over the Packers, the Bears, and all those other horrible teams in our division. Come check them out. Tickets are available right now.
Boom!
There you go.
That's
man.
What I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use that.
That's right, man. Yeah, definitely use. If you think it's gonna help them with their season ending, my goodness gracious, I think this is it this year for Stafford. I think if they don't get it done this year, they're gonna be stopping him.
They beat my boy up. They beating him up.
Yeah. So he's getting paid for it, but still, yeah.
Now go ahead and tell the people your website, contact info, and all that good stuff.
All right. So for anybody who wants to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me on Instagram. It's at Lamarr with 2 R's, Gulley, Gulleyvo. Lamarr at Lamarr Gulley VO. On Facebook, I'm Lamarr Gulley Voiceover. And also my website is lamarrgulley.com. So it's Lamarr with 2 R's, Gulley with 2 L's. And, go out there, check me out. Shoot me an email, Lamarr at lamarrgulley.com. If you got any questions, if you're interested in, learning more about the voiceover field, any of that stuff, if you just want to shoot and say, hey, that's fine too.
Sweet. And this has been Video Village Podcast. You can hit us up on Instagram, Video Village Podcast, Twitter, VV_podcast. I'm your host, Moski, and we have Lamarr Gulley has graced us with his presence today. And I just want to thank you, brother, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to kick it with your boy.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, Mo. I appreciate it, man. And God bless y'all. Peace out.
Peace.